Hi there guys, how you going? Well, it happened. We finally have, in the global version of the game, a mercy pool for Xion EX Plus and Kairi EX Plus at the same time. It's a 5 pool, 15,000 dual mercy, and actually lasts for I think about 24-25 days, so this is a really cool thing. They finally put the ability to get this medal in the game, and with that amount of time, hopefully everyone should be able to mercy pool it. I'm saying hopefully because there are potentially people right now who are completely bankrupt that won't be able to earn 15k in that amount of time, but I'm really crossing my fingers that everyone has just heard crazy old Damien up on his hill going, look, there's a mercy for this coming, bait, is all I've been saying for the last 2 weeks about all these banners, just hang on a little bit longer. It happens, we got it for the JP anniversary, well the JP anniversary got it, but given that our games are pretty much a parody now, if they want to make really difficult content for the JP version, they have a license to right now, because if you put out a 5 pool mercy and you make the banner last for almost a month, you are pretty much assuming that the majority, and I'm talking 90% of your game player base, is going to have access to this medal, and if you know that everyone has access to a certain level of power, you can now set the difficulty to match that level of power. So on one hand, it's fantastic, everyone should be able to now complete a good majority of the content that we've had so far, but be prepared for a new wave of content with a much higher level of difficulty. Anyway, among all the positive news I've heard about this banner, I've actually heard a lot of people crying out, well, is this bait? And I kind of laugh at that because I go, you know, maybe I'm rubbing off on people a little bit too much, but no, people are definitely right to ask. It's not as if some medals haven't come out in the past, even Kairi's, and then, you know, a few weeks, a few months later, whatever, inevitably a new one will come out. I mean, as good as this medal is right now, it sounds ridiculous to say this, but eventually it will be just shuddered. Eventually even this will be outclassed. And I thought, well, why don't we have a little look at the timeline of releases of Kairi's and buff cap increases. Alrighty, so as I have been known to do, I've decided to make a graph about this new medal and its relation in where other Kairi medals have come out, where the buff cap has increased, and we can have a little think about, well, if we know this one's coming out now, and it's a mercy pool now, which sort of fits into our timeline, when might the next one come out, and potentially when might they increase the buff cap. So let's go ahead and have a little bit of a look right here. Okay, so hopefully that you guys can see this again. We've got the releases for Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, and then the update Union Cross. We've got every single relevant Kairi medal, and we've also got, well, just for clarity's sake, this is where the global version of Unchained Key was released as well. I don't think the global dates are relevant whatsoever, so literally all the dates you see here are Japanese, again, except for that one little global release of Unchained Key down the very bottom there on the 7th of the 4th, 2016. But given that we've effectively reached parity with the Japanese version now, it's all we really need to pay attention to. So anyway, after Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key was released, a few months go by, well, several months go by actually, and then at some time in May 2016, the very first game-breaking quote-unquote Kairi medal is released. Illustrated Kairi from Kingdom Hearts 1. So she was a big deal at the time, again, raising 3 tiers of general strength and giving you a heal, which, again, you have to realize that Kairi medals are often fantastic because of how many things they combine into one medal. It's the utility, given that, well, at the time you only had 5 medals to play with plus a friend medal. If you can do a whole bunch of work in one medal, that saves you up other medals to do damage with. So the fact that she gave you plus 3 tiers of general strength and a heal means that you didn't have to cast, you know, strength up 1, 2, 3 times to get that full amount of damage out. You can just cast it once and away you go. A lot of Kairis are going to be like this. Same again, Kingdom Hearts 2 Kairi, you get the heal, you get the gauge restore, which was a huge deal at the time, and you get those beautiful buffs, which were actually preserved in the global version as well. 0.2 Kairi. Now, this one is special because the buff cap increases for the first time at the release of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. So, just over 18 months after the initial release of Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, Union Cross comes along, so the game is revamped, re-released effectively as now Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and shortly after, 0.2 Kairi is released. So the buff cap that which had previously been plus 3, as in plus 3 general strength, plus 3 PSM strength, and minus 3 to your enemies, defense and PSM defense as well, that is all wiped away and it's now increased to plus 7. And with that comes a brand new 0.2 Kairi to take advantage of that, giving you up to plus 6 general strength, as well as a whole other laundry list of buffs and debuffs to your enemy and to yourself. So again, another really good quote-unquote game-breaking medal, and you can see released relatively soon after the Kingdom Hearts 2 Illustrated Kairi, especially compared to the first one. So this Kairi medal has a mercy pool attached to it and its first initial banner, just like the 2 before it. So Illustrated Kairi had a 10 pool mercy, Illustrated Kingdom Hearts 2 Kairi had a 5 pool mercy, and so did 0.2. This would actually make the last Kairi that would have a mercy pool on its release banner. So then we have Illustrated Kairi EX. Now this is another huge game-breaking medal. As I mentioned before, Kairis have the utility of having so many buffs and debuffs rolled into one, and this one was no different. Having superior buffs to every Kairi that had come before it, as well as the gauge restoring versions of its Kingdom Hearts 2 variants, this Kairi truly did do it all, and it included 2 tiers up rather, of the brand new upright buff that had previously only been in 1 or 2 medals. This is one of the most fantastic medals to date, and one of the most long-lasting standard medals on any Keyblade set. This would soon be joined by its reverse doppelganger in Illustrated Shion EX a couple of months later, and then the long wait began. We all knew it was coming though, because eventually all Kairis must be replaced, and during that time we had the initial release banner, which was a falling price, with no guaranteed mercy. Now this was a big shock to a lot of people, because every single time a Kairi was released, you always have a huge increase in power that goes along with it, and often that means that quite difficult content can be released because a good percentage of the population will have tried to get this medal, and it's also an incentive for people to pull it, of course. So people were a bit outraged that didn't get it the first time around, because there was really no way around it apart from just locking your way into it. Even though in the global version we were still a little bit behind at this point, and people like me were trying to say save as much as you possibly can, some people still got left behind, and it took them a long time to get these medals. Illustrated Kairi EX would be available in 3 falling price banners before eventually, in the global version, being available as a mercy pull, a 15 mercy pull mind you, on Valentine's Day in 2018. During this time, the game was getting ever closer to the Japanese version, and before too long we would reach complete parity with it. So our advantage of knowing what was coming and being able to save accordingly was now gone. In accordance with that, a brand new Kairi EX Plus medal was released to break the game yet again. Kairi EX Plus would do as every other Kairi medal had done so far, and take what used to be a unique attribute to other medals and add it into its own impressive arsenal. In this case, it got the ability to boost its own guild percentage, as well as the guild percentage of any medal that followed it. Okay, so there we are. So you've seen the release of all the Kairi medals, and now we're at the point of today's date. At the time of recording, it is the 24th of August 2018. So what comes next? As we know, Kingdom Hearts 3 is releasing in January of 2019, so if there's no Kairi medal release before then, you can guarantee that at some point, perhaps in February, perhaps in March, perhaps earlier than that, there will be a Kingdom Hearts 3 Kairi medal that will likely render all the ones before it obsolete. So, to all the people that are questioning, should I go ahead and pull for this right now? I would say the answer is yes. Obviously it will be replaced eventually, as all medals will, but the fact is, it's available right now as a mercy pull, and only a 5 pull mercy to gain access to one of the medals that, time and time again, has redefined the entire meta around it. Like I mentioned before, they are now going to put out content to the difficulty to match the fact that everyone has Kairi EX Plus. So if you didn't have it before, and you don't have it now, it's going to be very difficult for you going forward. I would very strongly guess that. The only other big concern is, are they going to go ahead and increase the buff cap? And if so, when might that be? If we have a look at, well, initially the game came out on that first big spike, Kingdom Hearts Unchained key on the very left, and then 18 months later, Union Cross was the next big spike. We are almost 18 months after the release of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, so they could very well do that. They could just go ahead and increase the buff cap, as we know it right now, to +7, +7, -7, -7, all the way up to +13, +10, no one really knows. Let's go ahead and assume it's +13. The difference in the past is, if we assumed like a buff cap was coming, we always had the safety of, well, if the medal that we have is our current big buffer, let's say, 0.2 Kairi, or probably Kairi EX, if we're able to get extra attack on that, we can go from, let's say +7 general attack. If we get extra attack, well then we'll automatically hit the new buff cap of +13. With this Kairi though, there's a difference though, because these Kairi KH2 and Shion EX Plus Kairis, they overwrite you to +7, +7, +7. So they hit the current buff cap and they overwrite you to that point. But the point is, you can't use a copycat medal or extra attack on this medal to then increase yourself further. You'll only get overwritten back to +7 again, so it's like you basically didn't cast it at all. What I'm concerned about is, if they do go ahead and raise the buff cap, you'd effectively have to use her as a base, so set yourself a +7, and then other medals like the prime medals or other key arts or other powerful buffers to push yourself up to the new range, whatever that might be. I'm assuming if Kingdom Hearts 3 Kairi is eventually released, which of course it will be, that will hit whatever buff cap it is, but they might do that again. That might be how they prevent obsolescence. Oh, sorry. They might prevent the current Kairi medals from becoming too powerful, because if you had extra attack on this thing, they could increase the buff cap all they wanted. You really wouldn't care. You just cast it again. Sorry, if it wasn't an overwrite medal, if it was just a traditional buffer the way we know it, you would really want to get extra attack, and then you'd be all set. And the fact that they give you a trait medal every single pull means you would aim for extra attack, and you wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. The fact that they give you a trait medal on every single pull, and especially for all those people that had to really chase it, and have dozens of trait medals potentially, they would get extra attack on it for sure. So I think they know that, and then they go, okay, well, if everyone has extra attack, then if we release a new Kairi medal however many months down the track, they won't need to pull for it because they'll already have this amazing one that, even though it doesn't quite meet the new criteria of whatever the new ridiculous Kairi does, double casting this thing would still really do a solid chunk out of the buff cap. So I think that's why they've gone ahead and put the override skill in. It's very clever on their part as a way of incentivizing new pulls. But anyway guys, this is all just hypothetical. What do you guys think? Do you think a new buff cap raise is coming? If so, what do you think it might get to? Me personally, I think maybe on the 3rd anniversary of the game, or maybe on the release of Kingdom Hearts 3, they might throw out a new buff cap increase, or maybe just before Kingdom Hearts 3 is released. I don't know, but it seems to me there's always going to be a new Kairi, always going to be a new Xion, so I don't know. Enjoy this one while it lasts. I'm definitely going to pull for Xion because, as we know in PvP now, having one is simply not enough, especially as they add more keyblades to PvP. It's going to become apparent that you want to cast this thing as many times as possible. So good luck to all of you guys that are going to pull as many copies as possible. I hope I don't run into you in PvP, basically. All the best, guys. Have a good one. Bye.